גם אחרי שהלכתי לך זה לא שינה, ומיד כשחזרתי הייתה לך הרגשה שאני עוד אוהב אותך, שאני כבר שלך, ואהבתי ושמחת וחשבת שרציתי להיות שם תמיד בשבילך, כי ידעתי שככה זה טוב, שלשניים יהיה יותר פשוט לאהוב, כל הדרך אני לצידך. גם אני עוד שומע וגם אני לא יודע.
לעשות גל לביאו ואנחנו מיוטד. Boker Tov, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Gabi. Good morning, Zach. Good morning, Noga. It's good to see you, everyone. We welcome all those that are joining us on Facebook and on YouTube as we start this morning of Shabbat and we enter this virtual sanctuary. We turn our Sidurim to page 192 for Matuhu.
Ay lay lay ay la lay lay ya la lay 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 ay lay lay ay lay 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 ay lay lay ay la lay lay ya la lay 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 ay lay lay ay lay 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 batovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Israel ואני ברוך חסדך אבוא ואצלך איי לי לי איי לי לי איי לי 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 איי לי לי איי לי 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 איי לי לי איי לי לי איי לי לי ואני תפילתי לך אדוני את רצון
We take now a moment to acknowledge our bodies, the sacred vessels of our existence. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, Sovereign of the universe. With divine wisdom, you have made our bodies, combining veins, arteries, and vital organs into a finely balanced network. Wondrous maker and sustainer of life, were one of them to fail, how well we are aware we would lack the strength to stand before you. Blessed are you, Adonai, source of our health and strength. Baruch atah Adonai, rofe kol basar umafli la'asot. And as we turn our Sidurim to page 196, I invite you to close your eyes for a moment and to think about your body, to sit comfortably wherever you're sitting, and to try to acknowledge your body. And as we think of our bodies, we become mindful of our breath. Breathe in and out. In Hebrew, the word neshima, breathe, breath, and the word neshama, soul, are almost the same word. And it is because our neshima, our breath, will help us connect with the divine and eternal source of our temporary existence, of our bodies. So once again, I invite you to take a deep breath. יצרת, אתה נפחת בי, ואתה משמרה בקרבי, ואתה עתיד לתרע ממני ולהחזירה בי ועתיד לבוא. כל הזמן שנשמה בקרבי, מודה אני לפניך. כל הזמן שנשמה בקרבי, מודה אני לפניך. אלוהי, אלוהי אבותיי, אלוהי, אלוהי בני אמותיי. אבותיי. ריבון כל הרזים, אדון כל הנשמות, ריבון כל הרזים, אדון כל הנשמות. Source of all creation, source of all souls. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, אשר בידו נפש כל חי, ברוח כל בשר איש. We turn our Silurim to page 198 for the blessings, for the daily miracles, for Birkot HaShachar. And as we chant and sing the words of our tradition, I invite you to think about your personal blessings, those things that are your daily miracles that make your routine possible.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who opens the eyes of the blind. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who frees the captive. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who lifts up the fallen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who stretches the earth over the waters. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who strengthens our steps.
Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish alumim.
Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, הנותן ליהב כוח.
Amen. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, המביא שינה מעיני ודמומה מיף אפיים.
אמן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני בצלם אלוהים.
Creating all human beings equal. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, who has given me free will.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שעשני ישראל.
ברוך atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, עוזר ישראל בגבורה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, עוטר ישראל בתפארה.
Amen. We turn now our Silurim to page 212 for the blessing, for the Psukei, the Simbra, the verses of praise in which we embrace, undertake the hard work of uplifting our souls.
ברוך שמר והיה העולם, ברוך הוא, ברוך שמו, ברוך עושה בראשית, ברוך אומר ועושה, ברוך גוזר ומקיים, ברוך מרחם על הארץ, ברוך מרחם על הבריאות, ברוך משלם שכר טוב לרעב, ברוך חי לעד וקיים לנצח, ברוך פודה ומציל, ברוך הוא, ברוך שמו.
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Songs of praise to extol you and proclaim your sovereignty. For you are the source of life in the universe. One God, life of the universe. Praise and glorious ruler. Your name is eternal. Baruch atah Adonai, melech me'olam, v'tishvachot. Our Sidurim to page 214, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, Psalm 92.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ליי 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 ליי. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ליי 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 ליי. טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, להגיד בבוקר חסדיך ואמונתך בלילות. עלי עזור ועלי נאווה, עלי היגיון וכינור. עלי עזור ועלי נאווה, עלי היגיון וכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ליי 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 ליי. צדיק התמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, ישנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני, צורים ולא עוולתה בו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, ליי 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 ליי.
We're at the top of page 215. אשרי יושבי ביתך, happy are those who dwell in your house. אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יעללו חסדה.
אשרי יושבי ביתך, עוד יעללו חסדה.
אשרי יושבי ביתך, עד לדוד, הרוממך אלוהי המלך, בעברך שמך לעולם ועד.
בכל יום אברכך ואלל שמך לעולם ועד.
גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, בגדולתו אין חקר.
דור לדור ישבח מעשיך וגבורותיך יגידו.
עד על כבוד הודיך ודברי נפלאותיך עשיך.
ויסוס מאורתך יאמרו גדולתך ספרנה.
זכר טובך יביאו וצדקתך ירננו.
חנון ורחום אדוני, ערך אפיים וגדל חסד.
טוב אדוני לכל ברחמיו על כל מעשיו.
יודוך אדוני כל מעשיך וחסידיך יברכוך.
כבוד מלכותך ימלו וגבולתך ידברו.
להודיע לבני אדם גבורותיו וכבוד הדר מלכותו.
מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
הנה כל אליך ישבנו ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם ואיתו.
פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל כואב לכל אשר יקראו באמת.
רצון הירב יעשה ואת שבתה ושמע ויושיע.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו את כל הרשעים ישמיד.
תהילת אדוני ידבר פיו ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד.
ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
page 218. נשמת כל חי, תתברך את שמך, אדוני אלוהינו, ברוח כל בשר, תפעל ותתרומם זכרך מלכנו תמיד. We have no sovereign besides you, God of the first and the last, God of all creatures, Master of all generations, who is praised in a multitude of praises, who guides the world with abundant loving kindness, and all creatures with mercy. Adonai neither slumbers nor sleeps, but awakens the sleepings, arouses those who slumber, gives speech to the mute, and God loosens the bonds of captives. God supports the fallen and strengthens those who are bent over. You alone do we acknowledge. We are on page 220.
כנשרי שמיים ברגלינו קלות כיילות. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלכנו. אין אנחנו מספיקים להודות לך ולברך את שמך מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים, מלך מלכי המלכים. בילופינו על שיר החיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כיילות. בילופינו מלא שיר הקיים ולשוננו רינה וידינו פרוסות כנשרי שמיים ורגלינו קלות כיילות.
Therefore, these limbs which you have formed in us, and this spirit and soul that you breathed into our nostrils, this tongue which you have set in our mouths, they must acknowledge, bless, praise, and glorify your name, O our sovereign. For every mouth will acknowledge you, and every tongue pledge homage to you. Every knee bend in your presence. Every upright person shall bow before you. Every heart will revere you, and every inmost thought will sing to your name. And David said, let all my bones exclaim, who is like you, Adonai? As David continued, bless Adonai, O my soul, and let my inner being praise your holy name.
Turn our Sidurim to page 222. We acknowledge that eternal presence before us, beyond our own existence and within our existence. Shochen Ad.
שוכן עד מרום וקדוש שמו, וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני, לישרים נבוא תהילה, בפי ישרים תתהלל, ובדברי צדיקים תתברך, ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש. ובמקהלות ריבות עמך בית ישראל, ברינה יתברך שמך מלכנו, בכל דור ודור. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, שהוא שפכה לב וזמרה, עוז ממשלה נצח גדולה גבורה, תהילה ותפארת, קדושה ומלכות, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא בנו שמו.
אל מלך גדול בתשבחות, אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות, הבוחר בשירי זמרה, מלך מלכי העולמים.
Page 224. יתגדל ויתקדש שמרבה, בעלמא יבלח ילותה וימליך מלכותה, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי וכל בית ישראל בגאווה. קרי לעולם ולעול ברמיה יתברך וישתבח יתברך בתרומה מתנשא בהיתהדר בהיתהלל בהיתהלל שמד קודשה בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה בשירתה תוש בחתה בנחמתה להמירם בעלמה באמרו אמן. Return our series to page 226 for Baruch Hu. ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. Return our series to page 228. מאיר לארץ ולהרים עליה ברחמים וטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. In mercy, you illuminate the world and those who live upon it. In your goodness, you daily renew creation. How numerous are your works, Adonai. In wisdom, you form them all, filling the earth with your creatures. We praise Adonai, our God, for the excellent work of your hands, and for the lights you created. May they glorify you. Shine a new light upon Zion, that we all may swiftly merit its radiance. Praised are you, Adonai, creator of all heavenly lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. Turn our series to page 230. As we get closer to the Shema, we think about the presence of a deep and everlasting love that surrounds and fills our existence.
Alenu
liveinu b'mitzvotecha. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvot. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble, having trusted in your great and awesome holiness. We shall celebrate your salvation with joy. Guide us in peace from the four corners of the earth, and if you are wearing a talit, this is the moment to gather the four corners of your talit, to put the four corners of your talit together as a symbol of our search for internal unity and wholeness. Oh God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. Praised be you, Adonai, who chooses your people Israel in love. Baruch Ata Adonai, Abocher be'amo Israel be'ahava. We're on page 232 for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. We continue on page 234 with Ve'ahavta. Please join me. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם נאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. We continue in English in the middle of page 236. Adonai said to Moses as follows: Speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of blue to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of Adonai and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
אלוהיכם אמת ביציבו ובחביבנו לעבד ביתו ביפה הדבר הזה עלינו לעולם ועד. From Egypt you redeemed us, freeing us from bondage. For God, your beloved Son, praise, exalting you. Your dear ones offer him songs, praise, blessing, and thanksgiving to you as sovereign, the living and enduring God, high and exalted, great and awesome. God ever humbles the proud, praises the lowly, frees the imprisoned, redeems the afflicted, helps the oppressed, answering our people when we cry out. Praise to God Most High. Blessed is God and deserving of blessing. In great joy, Moshe, Miriam, and Israel responded with song to you, all of them proclaiming, Who is like you, O God? Mi chamocha, by name Adonai. We're on page 235. 240.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה שירה חדשה שבכל גאולים לשמך אספת הים יחד כולם הודו המליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
צור ישראל, מה בעזרת ישראל, עודנו מלך, יהודה וישראל, גואלנו, אדוני צבאות שמו. Israel, praise in support of Israel, and redeem us as you promised. Koleinu, Adonai tzvaot shemo. Page 242, תפילת עמידה.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון גומר חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכה חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה שמו באהבה, מלך חוזר ומשיח מגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד אתה, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, זומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמנות על החיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות, אלוהים כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר עלינו אדוני, אדוננו מדהים, שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני אחד אלוהינו, אלוהינו מלכנו, ומושיענו ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
לדור ודור,
לדור
לדור
ודור,
ודור,
לדור
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך קדושתך נגיד, ושמך אלוהינו, מפינו לא יבוש, לעולם לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת, לראות אותם בליטול העם, בני ובן בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ביום השביעי שבת, שבת ויהי נפש. We continue with the reign of Damida silently. No. כל ישראל עמך שיר שלום טובה וברכה שיר שלום טובה וברכה. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Let's do some Torah. Let me move the guitar to the side. No, actually, you can keep yourself in the frame because we'll talk to you. So, Gabi, now if you can go to page two, we disappear. We disappear from the frame. Here we're coming back. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know. Great. Okay, here we are. So the lesson for the study of Torah that you can find on page 212, I think. No, 204 or 6. Yes, 204. You can read the entire lesson for the study of Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. O Adonai our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants and the descendants of all your people Israel, may know you, by studying your Torah for its own sake. Blessed are you, Adonai, who teaches Torah to your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed Torah le'amo Yisrael.
Amen. And now that you did the blessing for the study of Torah, we will study some Torah. So, what's the topic of the Torah portion?
The spies.
The spies are the topic of this Torah portion. But I would say that they are not the topic, they are the agent. There are many other topics in the Torah portion, but the spies are, without any room, any place for doubt, the main characters of this Torah portion. And as we discussed yesterday, we have a group of 12 spies that are divided in two groups. There are 10 spies that have certain experience, and 2 other spies, Joshua and Caleb, that have a very different experience or a very different idea. They do agree over the facts of what they have experienced. However, they don't interpret them in the same way, and they make different, very different choices, behavioral choices. So we will explore 2 extensions of that situation, different of those that we discussed yesterday. Yesterday we spoke about fear, and when we let fear guide our choices and decision making, and we spoke about the idea of a contaminating and a redemptive narrative, and how we build the stories of who we are, and how we present our stories, and how we help ourselves when we present our stories to move closer to the places where we envision to be. Now we are going to take a different perspective of this Torah portion. I will share my screen. Okay, here we are. No, this is not the one you need to see. This is YouTube. This is us on YouTube. Let's do it again. Here we go. But you want to see the YouTube once again. And here we are. Can you see my Google Doc? Yes, this is perfect. Gabi, do you want to be our first reader?
Sure, happy to.
Okay.
Okay.
So the context is Moses is giving them the instructions of how to explore Eretz Canaan, aka the land of Israel. So here you go.
And see what kind of country it is. Are the people who dwell in it strong or weak, few or many? Is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns they live in open or fortified?
Okay, so let's just take a moment. So Moses is trying to gather an idea, and let's be mindful of his words, right? And see what kind of country it is. Are the people who dwell in it strong or weak, few or many? Is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns they live open or fortified? Now, you could say these are generic questions, but I would say, what the rabbis will say later, that they are very specific questions and they have very good reasons. Can you go ahead, Gabby? Chapter 13 of the book of Numbers, between verses 25 to 28.
At the end of 40 days, they returned from scouting the land. They went straight to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the wilderness of Paran, and they made their report to them and to the whole community as they showed them the fruit of the land. This is what they told him. We came to the land you sent us to. It does indeed flow with milk and honey, and this
Okay,
is
good news, right? Milk and honey, that's the promise. Good news. But they don't stop there. Keep going.
However, the people who inhabit the country are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. Moreover, we saw the Anakites there.
Until here, facts. Now, they are describing the facts. Let me ask you a question. For those that know the outcome of this story, what's going to happen with this description? They are going to conclude that they basically need to make a U-turn, like back to Egypt. We'll talk about that in one more minute. But they are going to experience and to think about all these things as very negative. Now, I want to provide you with some rabbinical interpretation, and the reason there are no citations here because it's me gathering rabbinical interpretations, but then we'll read something from Tanhuma, from a rabbinical midrash story. The rabbis explain the enormous graves were set up by God as a sign to show that the land is indeed plentiful and rich. The heavily fortified cities are a sign of Canaanite weakness. We'll talk about that in a moment, since anyone who is truly powerful does not have to hide behind big walls. And the death, when they arrived, there was a funeral. And they say, okay, and this is a land that eats its inhabitants. And the rabbis say, no, this was set up by God. So the locals were busy with the arrangement for the funeral of this nobleman, this very important individual who have died. So nobody would notice their presence. Now, this is a generic rabbinical interpretation and explanation. I want to focus on the fortified cities. And let's say what the Midrash says about that. Guy, you want to be our reader once again?
Yes.
I'll give you like a bigger picture of that.
Thank you.
I'm going to put it in the center now for you. Here you go.
Okay. Thus did he charge them, as for the people who dwell in it, are they mighty or weak? And what of the land? Is it good or bad? And how will you know about their strength? Are they in camps or in strongholds? If they dwell in camps, they are mighty and depend upon their strength. But if they are in strongholds, they are weak and have fearful hearts.
Okay, so what is the Midrash telling us?
That if the cities are really fortified, it's just a symbol of the people being weak rather than strong.
If the cities are really fortified and heavily fortified, it means that the people are weak and not so strong. And this is the first stop I want to make. This, and I will stop sharing my screen for a moment, and then we'll get back to share my screen. Like this impression that we sometimes have when we see something or someone who is heavily fortified that towards the outside seems to be very powerful and is very, very intimidating to us and makes us feel fearful and small, because behind those walls that this person has said, it looks like a giant. What the Torah is saying here is that, well, those are probably not giants. Those that need to hide behind fortified walls and don't have the power to expose themselves, and I will add, to show some level of vulnerability, but they are actually weak people. They are very, very weak. So this is an opportunity to think about the walls that we are perceiving in our lives and are intimidating us and are making us feel very, very small, and how we can acknowledge their presence, but without focusing in the fact that that presence is intimidating us, and trying to focus on our strengths and on the things that we have when we come to face those walls, which is basically the narrative that Joshua and Caleb are offering to this story. They're saying, no, we're stronger than that. We totally can deal with that. So this is number one, is the experience of being intimidated by big walls and people that are standing behind those big walls that from the distance seem to be giant. One more twist to that is, we know we have a story of a Jewish guy fighting with a giant. Does it ring any bell? Any bell, Gabi, Noga?
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath, right? And we know how Goliath ended up. And we know that David was quite of a small guy. But it turns out that Goliath didn't see so well. And it turns out that Goliath wasn't so dynamic and active. It turns out that David was fast and strong and smart, and he knew how to use an advanced weapon and was able to attack him from a very long distance. So if you see a picture of the two, you might say, well, Goliath is a giant and is intimidating. But if you know the story, you might be intimidated by David. and I think that sometimes the only thing that we can see in our lives are Goliaths that are surrounding us, and they are very, very scary. And we need to find in that experience of being small, actually, our might, our strength, our power, and our ability to face those intimidating situations and people that we sometimes meet. That's the first part of our parsha. I want to go to the second part of this story. Here we go, once again. Now, Gabi, you want to continue being our reader? You have been doing so well today. Yeah, like, come on. And but just as a, so what we're going to see how these arguments start to develop and where they go. Okay, so here you go.
Caleb hushed the people before Moses and said, "Let us by all means go up, and we shall gain possession of it, for we shall surely overcome it."
Okay, so Caleb doesn't know what we just said about David at Goliath, but he says, we got it. We can totally do it. We have the strength. Now, interesting thing about the word Caleb is, how do you say dog in Hebrew? Caleb. It's the same. It's almost the same word. In Hebrew, he's called Caleb. But Caleb means
Like a heart.
like a heart. Like a heart. He's just His heart is totally there. But an interesting thing in this context is that the word heart in the biblical language is mind. It's actually a irrational and intellectual person. He's thinking about this and he's trying to be completely rational. And the rational, we said yesterday, is now we know all the miracles that God has performed for us. We know our strength. We know who we are. We can face it. We can deal with this. And here's the other part of the argument. Here you go, Gabby.
Okay. But the men who had gone up with him said, "We cannot attack that people, for it is stronger than we." Thus they spread calumnies?
Calumnies is like a gossip. Like, rumors.
Interesting. I learned something new today. Among the Israelites about the land they had scouted, saying, "The country that we traversed and scouted is one that devours its settlers."
Here you go. Eretz Ocheret Yoshbeya, because they go back to this funeral. Keep going.
All the people that we saw in it are men of great size. We saw the Nephilim there. The Anakites are part of the Nephilim.
By the way, Anakites comes from the word Anak, which means giant in Hebrew. Keep going.
And we looked like grasshoppers to ourselves. So we must have looked to them.
Okay, so this is the experience, right? Like they're describing that experience of we are nothing. Like that experience of being nothing. Like I am nothing. Like I'm completely irrelevant. And Caleb and Joshua are saying, come on, guys, like we know better than that. We know better than that. Let's don't be intimidated by those people that seem to be scary. Let's remember our strength. And I'm trying to say that this is not just about them. This is about us and about people that sometimes intimidate us. Let's remember our strengths. Let's remember our values. Let's remember our integrity. But this gets a bit more complicated because this discussion at some point goes out. Because what you just said, Gabby, is that these people were spreading all this fear and calumnies and rumors around the people of Israel. So what happens after that?
The whole community broke into loud cries, and the people wept that night.
Okay, so therapy, like group therapy, everybody's crying there, like everybody is emotional, but it doesn't end there. It gets more complicated.
All the Israelites railed against Moses and Aaron. "If only we had died in the land of Egypt," the whole community shouted at them. "Or if only we might die in this wilderness."
So they go directly into what we discussed yesterday, the contaminating narrative. Like there's something good, but it's immediately tied to bad experiences with fear, and it gets even worse, right? Like because in their heads they cannot see any picture of something positive that could happen. They just see the walls. And then they say, why is the Lord taking us to the land to fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be carried off. It would be better for us to go back to Egypt. And they said to one another, let us head back for Egypt. Now, this is the second part of our conversation. There's a serious problem here. This discussion became very problematic. It became very problematic for a very specific reason. Not because we cannot disagree. We can have a discussion and disagree. The problem is that the 10 spies that were in disagreement with Joshua and Caleb, they went out and made their case immediately to the rest of the people. They shared with the rest of the people, and that created a very difficult situation, an additional situation that was completely unnecessary. And now the question is why they did that. Why would you do that? And I want to offer an explanation to that. I want to say they were given a very specific task. They were supposed to fulfill that task, come back, share the information with Moses. They weren't supposed to do the intel of the data. They weren't supposed to analyze the data. But it's very difficult not to do the analysis of the data. But what happens later is that they are fearful and they get into an argument with another two spies. And they start to get frustrated. And they understand that there's a power struggle here right now. And that frustration becomes, again, a power gain of who's going to be the leading voice. And then they go out with their frustration and they somehow break the structure of the mission, of the role that was given to them. And the thing I was thinking about, is when we are really, really frustrated, when we are emotionally overwhelmed, and we decide that we have the legitimacy to do things that are inappropriate behavior, because you feel entitled to do that, because you were hurt, because you are scared, because you are frustrated. Does it ring any bell? This is the second part of this message. The second part of this message is that's usually something that worsens situations and gets things really, really, really to bad places. And what Torah will try to tell us, and I will try to make my case in one more minute, is that even when you are really, really frustrated, even when you are really emotional about something, even when you feel hurt, you cannot forget the behavioral framework that you're obligated to. You don't have legitimacy to go and spread rumors. You don't have legitimacy to gossip. You don't have legitimacy to hurt someone else. That doesn't work that way. Now, in a bigger context, what we know is that Moses will immediately advocate for the Jewish people and remind God that he's slow to anger and he has abundant loving kindness. And we spoke yesterday about the pieces from this Torah portion that we use for our liturgy in Yom Kippur. But we know that the children of Israel, those that were in the desert, this generation, Dora Midbar, the generation of the desert, won't make it to a promised land. But beyond that, there's something that comes to close and bring closure to this situation, and there's a teaching, and the teaching comes toward the end of the Torah portion. In this Torah portion, we read the second part of the Shema that we read every day. Let me share with you my screen once again, and let's see that text. In the book of Numbers, chapter 15, 37 to 39, we say, ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל בני ישראל, ואמרת אליהם, עשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם, לדורותם, ונתנו על הציצית כנף פתיל תכלת. The Lord said to Moses as follows, speak to the Israelite people and instruct them to make for themselves fringes on the corners of their garments throughout the ages. Let them attach a cord of wool to the fringe at each corner. That shall be your fringe. Look at it and recall all the commandments of the Lord and observe them, so that you do not follow your heart and eyes in your lustful urge. Which basically means, remember that we have laws. Remember that we have foundations of behavior. And even when you feel really hurt, even when you feel really frustrated, even when you feel that you have been judged unfairly, that doesn't justify unacceptable behavior. That doesn't justify immoral behavior. That doesn't justify violence. Because that's what we have mitzvot. And this is the aspiration of Jewish behavior. The aspiration of Jewish behavior that we create tikkun olam by balancing the world, by challenging situations with morality, with integrity, with love, with shalom. Now, a last thing, Gabi, can you go to page 237 in your siddur?
Sure.
Page 237.
Yep.
The text life without integrity. So this text is paired to the reading of the Shema in our Siddurim, and I want to conclude this discussion, this reflection with this text. And before we do that, I want to remind two ideas. Number one, the idea of intimidation. When something is surrounded by walls and seems to be gigantic, that needs to be a reminder for us of our internal strength and our ability to face those walls. When something is challenging us, and we feel very emotional about something, and we feel that we just want to react, that should be a reminder for us that there are values that we want to stick to them, and that's the moment to stop for a second and to think twice and to choose how we want to behave, so you do not follow your eyes and heart in your lustful urge. And the text is life without integrity.
Life without integrity is like loosely hanging threads, easily fraying from the main cloth, while in acts of piety we learn to understand that every instant is like a thread raveling out of eternity to form a delicate tassel. We must not cast off the threads, but weave them into the design of an eternal fabric. Each day points to eternity. The fate of all time depends upon a single moment.
Rava, thank you very much. We will now turn our Siddurim to page 371 as we take a moment in this space of Torah study to acknowledge those that are dealing with illness. We think of essential workers that are exposing their health in order to protect our public health. And this is a good moment to remind you to wear masks. Like, before I say anything else, there are lots of discussions going on about, shall we wear masks? I don't really need to wear masks. Yes, you do. Right? Like, yes, you do. When you go out and you are going to interact with other people, when you are going to go to the grocery store, when you are going to visit a shopping mall, that some things that are, thank God, open once again, and even in Fullerton, some restaurants were open now, and some people are visiting. Wear a mask. Wear a mask. It's not about yourself, it's about how much you care for others. So I want to encourage you and remind you that wearing a mask in these days is a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. So if you pray B'Shabbat with us, I hope you see the connection between your goodwill for the health of others and your actions that reflect the goodwill that you have. When praying with our legs right now is wearing a mask. We think of those that are dealing with illness in their bodies and in their souls. I saw yesterday in the comments that we have some of our um, virtual friends, some of those that I don't even know from where they are connecting with us. I'd love to hear more about that. So I encourage you to write us short emails and introduce yourself. But I saw that some of you are dealing with illness, so I want to acknowledge that we're thinking of you and that we're praying for your health. We pray for those that are dealing with illness in their spirits, in their souls. We pray for those dealing with addictions as we raise and bring our hearts together on page 371 for Mishaberach.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We wish to all of them refuah shlema ve'achlama meira, a fast and a complete recovery. And we pray for all of us to remember that we are supposed to be wearing masks. We are in public and interacting with each other. We now take a moment to acknowledge mourners among our community. We acknowledge those that are during the first week of mourning, Shiva. We acknowledge those that are during the first 30 days of mourning, Shloshim. We acknowledge those during the cycle of the first year of mourning. We acknowledge those that have a yortzeit this week, an anniversary of death this week. As we gather our voices to support our community, you can do that while standing or sitting, joining us for Mourners Kaddish on page 598. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, ועלמה דברי חילותי וימליך מלכותי, וחייכון וביומכון וחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהלל ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו, לעילה עם כל ברכתה ושילתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יש לה מרבה מן שמיה, וחיים טובים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. May the memories of your dear ones be a blessing in your life. יהיה זכרם ברוך. So for those that were asking today, those that want to join Miriam, there's a link on her Facebook page, so you can click and participate with her. I will be there at 4 p.m. accompanying her, and encourage you to join us. And we will conclude our service on page 625 with Adon Olam.
אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעין עשה בחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. לאחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה, והוא יהיה בתפארה.
והוא אחד את שני, לעם שלו להכבירה, ולי ראשית ולי תכלית, ולא העוז ולמצווה, ולא העוז ולמצווה. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, זוכרתי בצרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסי, ודעת כוסי ויום אחד, ודעת כוסי ויום אחד. יעבתי כוחי את אישה והעירה, ועם רוחי גביעתי, אדוני לי ולא יירא, אדוני לי ולא יירא. In your hands I entrust my spirit, and I know that if you are with me, I shall not fear. אדוני עוש לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך, וקמו בשלום. שבת שלום everyone. Lai 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 lai.